Hey, welcome to the HODL Review. This is Jeff. You're here exclusively on the chain. Have you ever thought about a foreign country that could potentially influence the digital asset, whether it's XRP, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, or a whole host of other digital assets? But think about the more important digital assets to you, to the ecosystem, like XRP, the influence that the XRP digital asset has in regards to moving money cross border, or Bitcoin as a store of value. Can one country or big financial institution gobble up as much of that digital asset as possible until they own a super majority of that digital asset? And then what kind of influence can they actually have on that digital asset when that happens? That's what we're going to talk about on today's video, and we're going to start right now.
And now, the HODL Review with Jeff on the chain.
Boom, we're back. All right, so we're going to get into this. Now, I've thought about this quite a bit on my own. However, on my last video, we had one of our viewers actually post a comment that kind of read along these lines of a what if narrative. What if this digital asset was actually heavily influenced by a foreign country? Maybe that foreign country is China, maybe Japan, maybe the US, maybe a government decides to step in and take a majority stake, start buying up, accumulating little by little until one day all of a sudden they hold a super majority. So let's take a look at it. Let's move over to the screen. Oh, there it is right there. There we go. All right, let's take a look at this. So this is from Hybrid Allen. Now, he's talking about the SEC in the movie The Big Short. So he talks about, the SEC breaks out the 2008 song sheet again while bombing the banksters' favorite crypto, XRP Ripple. So we're getting into this SEC versus Ripple. This is what he commented on. But really, you start to think about it because you have a lot of XRP holders out there that are actually smaller exchanges. They're banking, they're financial institutions, but there is some transaction of XRP. If you look in Japan, you have SBI. However, there are some bigger wallets. Some of them, you don't know who they might be. But really, the biggest question is, and this is kind of a what if scenario, but I think it was important enough to actually make a video about, because it could potentially be a reality. Now, if you look at a digital asset that is also then being suppressed down to the smaller numbers, but even with Bitcoin, think about it. MicroStrategy, a company, has invested more than $1 billion into Bitcoin at this point. We have other institutions like MassMutual put $100 million into Bitcoin. And we have financial institutions and corporations that are getting and moving more and more money into Bitcoin and potentially into other digital assets. But we don't hear much from the governments. And so this is something that he put here. Why would China, Russia, or the US actually make their own digital asset when they can move in and start acquiring the digital asset in larger volume? Now think about XRP with the validators. You set up a validator, you set up another validator, you set up another eventually you may also have a larger voice within the validator network. So another thing to think about. But even if you want to address it from a Bitcoin perspective, like in China, China controls a majority of the mining of Bitcoin that exists today. Who controls Bitcoin? Who could control XRP? Whether you're mining it, a validator, but holding. So this becomes really important. And as I was reading this comment, my wheels started churning a little bit. I'm starting to think, if MicroStrategy can invest $1 billion, what would stop China, Russia, the US, Japan, any of the governments from investing $1 billion, $2 billion, $5 billion, $50 billion? Think about how much money is just wasted on a regular basis. Think about this latest, budget fiasco and outreach. Even in the U.S., they signed, what was that, like 1 trillion, 2 trillion, and they're just sprinkling a little bit of money onto the people. Oh, here's a little bit of $600. Oh no, maybe it could be 2,000. But we're talking about months and months and months of small businesses being decimated and people going without paychecks. But when you can pass $1 trillion, just in stimulus funding like that, don't you think that a government could also look at the digital asset space and say, you know what, we're going to move, $500 billion over here, and we're going to take over the market? I mean, is that a reality? It would really be interesting to hear some feedback from you guys. I know there's a ton of highly intelligent people, that follow this channel and that can comment on this. I would love to see the conversation that we could dig into, because again, this is a what if scenario. I'm not trying to create FUD or FOMO. I looked at this. I said, you know what? This is a legitimate conversation. Years ago, we had George Soros that was cornering the market and almost crashed the currency market and almost crashed the British pound. George Soros. So an individual. So think about the power that could be levied in the digital asset space. Even with gold, think about all of the gold that has been bought up over the years, whether it be by China or Russia or other entities that might have an ulterior motivation for why they're doing that. I don't know. Think about like with Japan, the markets ebb and flow. Back in the 80s, the big talk was, Japan controlling the steel industry. Today, the big talk is about, China's influence within potentially the finance space, and also obviously in production of product. So there's always going to be a time and an ebb and flow in this marketplace. The digital asset space, though, who owns the digital asset space and who can easily manipulate and then control it based on the purchasing of those digital assets? I don't know. Comment below. Love to hear your thoughts. Love to see your comments. I think it's, just really, really important to get some feedback, from you guys on these, on this. It'd be absolutely outstanding to see that feedback. And that is what we've got, for today. So let me see here. Let's see what we got. Anything else? I think that's it. I'm out. Here's the outro. Let's get out of here. I'll see you on the next one. Oh, before I go, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, subscribe, and otherwise on the video, give it some thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.